Tragically, nearly 35% of Texans experience domestic violence from an intimate partner or parent. Now, more than ever, they need our support. Genesis provides safety, shelter, and support for women who have experienced domestic violence in the Dallas area. Thomas J. Henry is proud to team with Genesis to help create a societal shift on how people think about domestic violence. We refuse to accept a world where women don't feel safe in their own homes.
Okie dokie, Pickle.
Uno mas.
It's time to unveil the Week 10 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas High School Football Rankings. Of course, we've been the official rankings provider of the Associated Press since 2019, something we're very proud of around here, and we are going to roll out this week's rankings, which was, I would say, some places were very boring, and other places
It was
were
maximum chaos.
chaotic. Let's start with Class 6A. Class 6A, we've got a couple of new entries into the top 10. Into the top 10 for the first time, the DeSoto Eagles move up to number 9 with their win over Cedar Hill. And Spring Westfield up to number 10 with their win over Aldine MacArthur. They're up a couple of spots apiece. Matriculating over to the back half of the rankings, where you're going to find a couple of interesting things. So Prosper leaps 5 spots up to number 11. Shadow Creek up a spot to number 12. Dripping Springs jumps 4 spots after their win over Lake Travis. So Allen drops from number 9 to number 14. As a result, because they basically have the same record, and Allen has a head-to-head win over Arlington Martin. Arlington Martin, despite winning, has to drop. They drop behind Allen because we want to make sure this thing makes a little bit of sense. Highland Park, making room for a couple of teams that leaped them, dropped to number 16. A couple other teams kind of get shuffled around. New to the rankings, number 21, Klein Collins drops out. New to the rankings, Cy Fair back into the rankings with a big win over Springwoods. They are number 25 in this week's rankings. Just had to do some kind of furniture moving because of you have to respect head-to-head wins. So that's kind of why there's a little bit of wonkiness.
Yeah, we were talking about this down in the valley with the Martin Allen. His
it's
okay,
like,
hang
what do you
on.
do? You have to make it make sense, in my opinion. To 5A we go. 5A Division 1, where there's a big shakeup as well. Number 3, College Station drops all the way out of the rankings with their loss to Georgetown. One of the reasons, we kicked this around, but one of the reasons that we dropped them out of the rankings was because they were down 35-3 in this game, Georgetown. Now, they made it a game. They're late, but they were functionally non-competitive for a lot of this game. That drops them out. Also out of the rankings, Port Arthur Memorial suffers their first loss in kind of stunning fashion to Baytown Lee. They drop out. As a result, Lancaster leaps from number 7 to number 4. Aledo, their big win over Ryan, gets them into the top 3. They're at number 3. Frisco Reedy up a spot. Midlothian up 3 spots. Amarillo Tascosa is up a spot. They survived Amarillo Caprock this week. PSJ North up 2 spots in McCall Memorial. 2 new teams into the rankings. Number 9, Smithson Valley checks back in. They have won, I believe, 6 straight after starting at 1-1. They beat Bernie Champion emphatically. And new to the rankings, number 10, A&M Consolidated. They're big winners over Georgetown Eastview. Sets up that big game against College Station. So if you're a College Station fan who's like, hey, why do we drop out of the rankings? Beat number 10, you're probably back in. 5A Division 2 we go, where this was much more boring. Everyone was a winner, with the exception of Liberty Hill, who was off. Everyone's top 5 remains unchanged. Argyle, Fort Bend, Marshall, Liberty Hill, Texas High, and Grapevine. Keep an eye on Montgomery Lake Creek, one of the few 9-0 teams in the state. To 4A we go. 4A Division 1, where there's a little bit of chaos. We have a new number 1. The China Spring Cougars ascend to number 1 after knocking off Stephenville. They're the number 1 team in 4A Division 1. You beat the man, you are the man. They are the new number 1 team. We drop Stephenville with the close road loss to number 2, still ahead of number 3 Corpus Christi Calallen, who won their 39th straight game over Toloso Midway. 39 in a row. That's the second longest streak in any rivalry in Texas high school football history, by the way. Elsewhere, number 8, Canyon drops out with their loss to Canyon Randall, and so that opens up a spot. Everybody kind of moves up. Kilgore and Chapel Hill nudge up, and back into the rankings. Number 10, Brownwood, back into the rankings. Big win over Lubbock Estacado. 4A Division 2, nothing to see here. Everything's exactly the same. Top 5 remains unchanged. Carthage, Gilmer, Cuero, Silsbee, and Belleville, your top 5. 3A. Now this is where things get nuts.
Chaos.
So a lot of this happens because like just some team games we didn't see. So Bushland loses to Shallow-Water. That drops them from number 2 to number 8, all the way down. We keep them in the rankings because we still like them, but they're going to stay there at number 8. Lorena loses to Franklin, but that game was close enough that we think that that's a respectable loss. They stay in the rankings there at number 10. Grandview's loss to West drops them all the way out of the rankings, so we have to do a little bit of reshuffling. Now number 2 in the rankings, the Hitchcock Bulldogs, who are now all the way up to number 2. They were unranked 2 weeks ago. Now up to number 2. Malakoff up a spot to number 3. Columbus up 2 spots to number 4. Shallow-Water makes their debut in the rankings, or re-debut, I should say, at number 5 with that big win over Bushland. Cameron Yo up 2 spots by winning the Battle of the Bell against Rockdale. Llano farts around with Blanco, but they win it. They're 9-0 as well. They stay the same at number. They stay the same at number 7. Brock stays the same at number 9 with a narrow win over Paradise, but a little concerned about that. So 3A Division 1 was a bit of a mess. Contrast that to 3A Division 2, which was entirely unchanged. Everyone behaved. Everyone was big winners. Top 5 remains unchanged. Gunner, Holiday, Newton, Canadian, and Bell's your top 5. 2A Division 1, a little bit of shake-up here because of Refugio's win over Shiner. Shiner drops from number 4 to number 6. We're not burying them, certainly, but they dropped number 4, number 6. Up a spot are Refugio up to number 4, and Stratford up to number 5. Everything else, essentially the same. Your new top 5. Timpson, who got a scare from Joaquin, by the way.
Yeah, that was wild, especially early on.
Mm-hmm. Timpson, Hawley, Crawford, Refugio, and Stratford are your new top 5. 2A Division 2. A little bit of changes here because of a couple of unforeseen changes. Top 5 remains unchanged. Mart's a big winner over Wortham, Burton, Wellington, Wink, and Chilton. Chilton gets a big win over Granger. Close enough, though, that we still think Granger's the 10th best team in the state. They drop 1 spot to number 10. Santo loses to Collinsville, so they drop from number 9 to number 7. That gives us an opportunity to debut Collinsville as the number 8 team in the state with that win over Santo. They are 7-1. Number 10 Milano loses to Bremond. They drop out of the rankings. To the 6-man ranks, where if you're looking for changes, you can just turn off the show now. Everyone was a big winner. We're in full district play mode here, boy, in 6-man football. Everyone was a big winner, entirely unchanged. Top 5 remains the same. Abbott, Westbrook, May, Jonesboro, and Rankin. Same thing in 1A Division 2, entirely unchanged. Everyone's a winner in a big way. Benjamin, Cherokee, Balmorhea, Oglesby, and Richland Springs round out your top 5. And finally, to the private school ranks we go, where, again, pretty chalky. Dallas Parish Episcopal remains the number 1 team in the private school ranks. In the 11-man ranks, everyone's a winner. Same thing in the 6-man ranks. Everyone was a winner. Pasadena First Baptist still your number 1 team in the private school 6-man ranks. So there you have it, your Week 10 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas High School Football Rankings. You can find all the rankings at texasfootball.com/rankings.